Hey, what's up, you guys? It's your boy TCG Tyson, and today I wanted to talk to you about a topic that's been going around a little bit, especially now with the way the market is and folks seeing opportunities come out that they haven't had in a long time. The question that has been up is, are you ready to invest in Pokemon cards? I got a few points that I want to talk about. This should be a relatively quick video. Before we get started, guys, please remember to like, subscribe, and leave comments. I want to hear your opinions on the topic. Share with your friends, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. But yeah, let's go ahead and hop in. So the first point that I want to talk about here is, do you have your life together? Second point is, do you have the willpower? Third point, do you know where you want to sell? Okay. I've got some sub points in here. But the first, do you have your life together? I want to talk about it first because it's normally the hardest to talk about. It's the most point of contention. So, do you have your life together? This, for me, when it comes to investing, is a purely financial question. Not to get all Caleb Hammer on you, but I'm about to get all Caleb Hammer on you. So, do you have an emergency fund? If you're investing in Pokemon, I'm assuming that you're an adult, and I'm assuming that you're wanting to invest in Pokemon to make your funds grow, right, over time. But it is very bad practice to invest with no savings, right? Because what happens if you lose your job? What happens if you get sick? Yada, yada, yada. The first thing that you're going to want to do is sell the collectibles. And at that point, you're going to have to sell at a loss. You're going to have to sell very quickly, which means you're going to have to do it in ways that you don't want to. The general gist, it's really 3 months to 6 months of emergency fund. The way that the economy is going right now, the way that things are going, you might want to try and get closer to that year mark. But the point still stands. Do you have any emergency fund? If the answer to this question is no, then the answer to investing is no for you, right? You got other priorities. Pokemon investing will still be here when you get back, but go insulate yourself, right? Don't put yourself at risk for bad things to happen because you want to invest in shiny cardboard because it's the cool thing to do. The next thing is, are you employed? Tyson, why is are you employed important? Because some people conflate scalping and flipping with investing. It is not, right? The act of scalping is you go to the store, you buy all the stuff, you sell it immediately for whatever profit you can get, right? That's only been possible in these points when Pokemon is like they are. Think about the last year. Think about 2021 or like after the Logan Paul boom. There wasn't enough cards. People were able to go hit up the Walmarts, hit up the Targets, buy everything, and then sell them. Flipping and scalping are two different things, in my opinion, because flipping, you can flip without scalping, right? Think about the gray felt hat Pikachu that just came out. Plenty of people bought those cards in a legitimate, perfectly fair way, graded them. They saw a play and they made it, and they got a bunch back in a tin, and now they're flipping them for way more than they paid for the card, right? That is more if you want to run a Pokemon business. That's more if you're trying to do things like that, or if you're just trying to make a quick buck. But neither of those is investing, right? Neither of those is going to replace a full-time income, especially if you've got bills, if you've got children, whatever. So are you employed and gainfully employed? Do you feel safe in your employment, right? If the answer to that question is no, then in my opinion, Pokemon investing, not for you. And last thing, and the biggest thing, would you have to invest on debt? Do not do that. This is not like some speculative thing, because people in different markets and bigger markets where the return is significantly bigger might invest with some debt. Think like real estate flippers. They'll take out a loan, buy a beat up house, fix it up, and then sell it and make 50K off the sale. That's not how Pokemon works. This stuff only has the value that people are willing to pay for it, and it's not essential to life, right? That house is shelter. People need shelter. These cards are purely entertainment, purely luxury, right? People don't need these cards, so you're not going to be able to make those type of plays. If you're investing on debt, you also end up in a situation like the people are now, where they're fire selling on Facebook Marketplace because they thought they were going to be able to flip. They thought they were going to be able to scalp. And now the product is down 20% on average 15 to 20% on average, and nobody's buying. There's way less buyers than sellers right now. So they're trying to say, hey, I need full market. They're not going to get full market. Bills are coming due. The end of the month just passed in October, and I'm sure that plenty of people missed a credit card payment because they were investing on debt because they thought that they were going to make a quick flip. So do not, I repeat, do not invest on bad debt. But if the answer to these things do not line up with, yes, I have some emergency fund, 3 months to 6 months, maybe even a year. Yes, I'm employed, have been for a while, feel good about it. And yes, I have the extra cash to play with, so I don't have to invest on a credit card or bad debt. Then I would recommend you go fix these things first, right? This is not the time for you to be investing. You're putting yourself at way more risk investing in something speculative like Pokemon cards it's essentially the same as if you were to go to Vegas and just gamble, right? It's not great to do when you're not ready for it. I think we're ready to move to the next topic. The next is, do you have the willpower? So this is a twofold thing. This first one I had to work on is, do you have the willpower, or will you want to rip the product? I love Pokemon. I'm a Pokemon fan. I'm a Pokemon player. I'm a Pokemon collector as well as an investor. I want to rip the product. I love the cards. I ripped so much Chilling Reign and so much Fusion Strike back in 2021 that if I would have just held, I would have been so far up. Granted, I wasn't an investor at that point. I was just a collector. I got back into the hobby around Battle Styles time. But still, if I could go back and talk to 2021 Tyson, I would say, hey, whoa. You just bought a case worth of Chilling Reign. Why don't you rip one, right, and put the rest away? You just bought a case worth of Fusion Strike. Why don't you rip one and put the rest away? If you think you're going to be tempted, even if you've successfully held it for a year, because Pokemon investing is a long-term play. In reality, the last year has been an anomaly, but really we're wanting to wait, 3 to 5 years out. So if you think you're going to wait a year and then you're just going to rip it, you got to work on your willpower to not do that, because then you're wasting your time, right? At that point, you're just collecting and not investing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if your goal is to be an investor, then you got to be an investor, right? And investors hold. They hold till the price goes up to where they're comfortable selling. That's what investors do. Next point here is, can you wait for the prices to rise? Part of this goes into what we talked about with the having your stuff together, but will you need the money that you invested before your investments are ready to sell? If the answer to that question is yes, pause. You got to have the willpower to wait until you've got your life together, until you're playing with, extra money. So you can say, I don't care about this $200 I just spent on a booster box. I'm going to let it sit there. And when it goes up, I'll be ready to handle that. Right. So if you can't wait for the prices to rise because you need the money, because you're going to want to sell out, because you're afraid of a time like right now when prices go down and you're freaking out, oh no, my investments are down 15%, got to sell, got to get some cash out or whatever, you got to put a pause on this and work on your willpower, because everybody who sells during a crash loses money, loses the potential gains they get from it rising back up. Look at something like Chilling Reign and Fusion Strike. We went through this a couple years ago. These sets were at least at MSRP, and then they crashed, and I think they were actually above, especially something like a Battle Styles or a Chilling Reign. And then they crashed all the way down. You could get the booster boxes for $80-$90. People sold out. People were like, wow, Pokemon's dead, blah, 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 blah. And now your box of Fusion Strike is a $900, $850 box. And people sold out because they were afraid, right? People sold out because they couldn't be patient, because maybe they needed the money, because they stopped believing in the hobby. So all those potential gains they just lost. It's not worth it. So next point and final point is, do you know where and do you know when you want to sell? This should have a win in it as well. So the first part here is, do you know what unrealized gains are? Do you know what unrealized gains are? Unrealized gains is essentially, what that means is, if I have, a booster box of Fusion Strike that I bought for $150, right? Now, in my collector app, it's telling me it's worth $800. Wow, you made a crap ton of money. What's that, $650? But you haven't sold. So that's unrealized gains. You haven't taken that money in, right? You need to be aware of what your unrealized gains are so that you can decide that next point. Do you have an idea of when you want to sell? So you can decide not necessarily at what time you want to sell, but at what price you want to sell. What amount of gains am I okay taking on this product? Do I want to wait till it doubles? Do I want to wait till it quadruples? That helps you level set and say, that means I'm probably going to be waiting this amount of time, right? In a realistic market for a booster box to double, I'm probably waiting until it goes out of print and maybe a few months after that. That means you're waiting 2.5 to 3 years, and then some months after that. Now, of course, that's not a hard, fast rule. Obviously, that doesn't mean immediately every set that goes out of print is going to skyrocket. I mean, look at something like Rebel Clash. Look at something like Sword and Shield Base. Look at something like Vivid Voltage. All been out of print for a while, not going crazy. That's some more analysis that you have to do with how strong the set is, yada, yada, yada. But do you have an idea of when and at what price you want to sell? And then one of the more important things that people don't think about is, do you know where you want to sell? During your investment journey, one of the things that you actively have to be doing is building a rapport, whether it be on Facebook Marketplace, eBay, TCG Player, locally with stores or vendors, trying to build up reviews on online platforms and a reputation in real life so that people trust you enough to buy your product, and people will think of you when they're wanting to buy products, right? You are much less likely to buy an $800 booster box at full market from somebody you don't know than somebody that you know and trust, right? Facebook Marketplace, TCG Player, eBay, the reviews matter. A lot of people will go and they'll filter for verified seller on TCG Player, and then they will look at the reviews. They will go to eBay and they'll look at your reviews. And if, there's 2 reviews and they're both 5-star, but there's only 2, I'm less likely to spend, $800 to $1,000 with you on a booster box or a card. So building up that online rapport or that in-person rapport is a big part of investing that people tend to look over. So do you know what unrealized gains are? Do you know when you want to sell, at what price point, and where you want to sell? And all this ties together because you can't even get to this point. You can't get to the thinking about the what price and the where if you're investing on debt, you're investing without an emergency fund, because then if something happens along the way, you lose your job, you get sick, the market downturns, you're going to have to sell at a loss. You're going to have to sell at, 70% market, barely make your money back to pay some bills. You'll never even get to this part right here, the where you want to sell. So overall, guys, that's what I wanted to talk about. Are you ready to invest? Do you have your life together? Do you know where and when you want to sell? Things to consider before you get into this part of the hobby. But again, it's been your boy Poke Trainer Tyson. Please like, comment, subscribe on the video. Trying to grow the channel again and get more active. I'll be posting at least every 24 hours. You'll probably see multiple videos from me a day. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll talk to you guys a bit later. Peace.